This morning is the first of a number of events that are happening to honor former First Lady Rosalynn Carter. The first is happening in Americus, just east of Plains, about 2.5 hours south of Atlanta. Christy Diaz is near the campus of Georgia Southwestern State University, where the first event will be held. Christy, during this wreath laying, Mrs. Carter will be remembered for the lasting legacy she leaves.
A legacy that is evident all throughout the campus here on Georgia Southwestern. The ceremony will be here on campus, right in front of one of the buildings that bears her name. And one of the people laying a wreath this morning is Dr. Jennifer Olson, the CEO of the Rosalynn Carter Institute for Caregivers, which is also located here on campus. And we spoke with Dr. Olson one-on-one about how the Institute began.
Rosalynn Carter lived her years out of order, thrust into caregiving before she hit her teens.
It first started when she was 12. Her father was diagnosed with cancer, and she watched her own mother serve as a caregiver, work outside the home, and raise her and her siblings. And so she saw that struggle.
Within a year of her father's death, Rosalynn's grandmother unexpectedly passed, and her grieving grandfather moved in so they could care for him too. Years later, her experience would mirror the story she heard on the campaign trail.
I realized she was always, or often, talking to a caregiver, the person next to her beside that patient. And so her interest and focus on caregivers came out of that.
When she and President Carter left the White House, her alma mater invited her to start a mental health program on campus. She didn't want to duplicate the one she had at the Carter Center, so she decided instead to focus on caregivers.
When we started the Rosalynn Carter Institute, we actually led the way in the whole country because nobody was working on caregiving.
36 years ago, caregiving wasn't a topic, but now you can't turn to a new newspaper without seeing it.
President Carter even donated some of his Nobel Prize money to help further his wife's mission.
What had helped me gain the prize, and it's obvious that the work at the Carter Center and my relationship with Rosalynn and the totality of our lives had been what attracted the attention of the Nobel Committee. So there was no doubt in my mind ever that the Rosalynn Carter Institute would receive part of the funds.
And then it was more than we thought it was going to be, so the Rosalynn Carter Institute got a chunk. I'm proud of it.
For more than 3 decades, the Institute has led the way in helping caregivers and their mental health. Dr. Jennifer Olson took over as CEO in 2018.
Caregivers experience so many mental health challenges themselves. They're isolated, they're stressed, they're dealing with increased burden from all the things they're trying to handle.
The Institute now focused on making sure her work endures, even with the loss of its founder.
I think our hearts are heavy, not just here in Plains, but across the country and really across the world.
I don't know what my legacy will be. I hope people think I had a lot of opportunities. I hope people think I took advantage of them and did the best I could with them.
The wreath laying is open to the public, but you must be in place an hour before the 11 a.m. start. If you can't make it all the way down to South Georgia, though, Dr. Olson says if there is one thing you could do to honor Mrs. Carter today, it is to check on a caregiver. Send them a text, make them a casserole, just check on them. Guys, back to you.
Something to do today and every day in her honor. Boy, they were so ahead of their times in this fight to provide better care and more support for caregivers. Christy, thanks so much.